Here I am, in the place to be. Mr. K&B, you can't fuck with me. Extra sexy, extraordinary. Palms are hairy, your mama pop. What up, y'all? K&B, the Sexy Ninja, in the place to be for C Plus Studios and the Paper Saber universe. Welcome to the Sexy Ninjacast. And we're here to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp. I just watched Ant-Man a week ago. I did a podcast on it. Just trying to catch up before the big movie, the third movie in this series, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. It's right around the corner. It's this weekend. You know, we're going to see it Monday, me and Doug. So I'm very excited. And after this I have not seen Ant-Man and the Wasp in a very, very long time. I didn't see it in a theater. I saw it when I got it at my Target edition from Target. I think I watched it and kind of just forgot about it. But that's what I love about going back and re-watching these movies, you know. And I really enjoyed this movie. I really had a lot of fun. And I remember a lot of people who downed this movie were like, and I was like, I don't remember my reaction. I think I watched it and I was like, And after such a huge movie like Avengers Infinity War, and this is the come right after it, it's kind of like, whoa, I don't know how you compete with that, mentally, just because at the end of Infinity War, we walked out of that movie, we were like, oh, shit. It just got real, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just one of those crazy-ass things. Like, this movie ends... This is the end of this after Infinity War. How do you live up to that potential of what this movie does? So, and the story is Scott Lang grapples with his choices as both a superhero and a father as he struggles to balance his home life with his responsibilities as Ant-Man. He's confronted by Hope Van Dyne and Dr. Hank Pym with an urgent new mission. Scott must once again put on the suit and learn to fight alongside the Wasp as they join forces to uncover secrets from the past. Some flashing light sequences or patterns may affect photosensitive viewers. I don't know why I read that last line, but that's true. There's a lot that's going on, especially when they go into the quantum realm, And this movie is trying to find Janet, Hope's mom. So after the events of Captain America: Civil War, when Ant-Man went to go help Captain America go fight Iron Man and all this and that, he pleaded a deal and he got under house arrest. So we start this movie off with Scott on house arrest, and he's trying to, Hope's mad at him, Hank's mad at him, just because he didn't ask permission to go to Germany to go to help out Captain America, and he took the suit. So, now he's under arrest, and he has like 3 days left until his house arrest is over. He can go back. Cassie, there's this really great scene in the starting with him and Cassie, like they're he made this like tunnel for them to make steel jewelry and stuff like that. Not jewelry, but like, treasure hunt for him and Cassie. And I love this father-daughter relationship because I have a daughter, and I understand Scott just wanting to do the right thing. And Scott's smart, but he's not that smart. And so I'm like, I relate, especially in scenes where he's with Hope and Hank and they're talking science stuff, or, where they're with, Goliath, Lawrence Fishburne's character, where they're talking and he's like, what? Can we say that in English? And the bad guy in this is Ghost. And she has this problem where she was affected by the quantum realm elements and stuff like that, and where she's phasing in and out. Only a few days left. Goliath, I can't think of his name right now. Yeah, character-wise, I can't think of it because, like I said, just finished this movie. But Lawrence Fishburne's character, he was a acquaintance of Dr. Hank Pym, and Dr. Hank Pym is just not a fan of him. And he got him fired a long time ago, this and that, and, former agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D.'s up in ruins now, so and the point of this whole movie is trying to find Janet, trying to find her, who's played by Michelle Pfeiffer, and that's what this whole thing is. And then there's a lot of great elements of grow, big, small, this and that. And when Scott is at home, he falls asleep, and the quantum realm messes with his mind and stuff like that. And like, she's sending him a message to get to Hank and Hope, and he like wakes up and he's like, "Oh man, what's going on?" And then he calls Hank. He's like, "Hey, I haven't, I had a dream and blah 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 blah. This, I saw her. I saw your mom. I saw Hope's mom." So fast forward after that, they what's it called? They basically kidnap Scott, and Scott's like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, he wants his life back with Cassie. He wants he wants that, and he learned magic, and that was so fucking cool. He's like, he's been under this arrest for so long, he learned magic, and all the characters are great. He has his this weird, fun relationship now with his ex-wife and her husband. Like, they're just a really big family unit now. Luis, and they have a security company now that they're trying to get off the ground and stuff like that. And Scott's just trying to make it, man. That's all Scott wants to do, and he wants to do the right thing also. And after they kidnap him, they tell him, like, hey, we're building this this bridge to the quantum realm. We're trying to go and try to pinpoint where she is so we can get Hope's mom out of there and bring her back. So, and there's a lot of many little factors in this. They're working with this mafioso guy, played by Walton Goggins, and I forgot about that because I love that dude, and he's kind of just there. He's like, I know what you guys have been doing, the FBI, blah blah blah, and Ghost is a threat, but not really. She's just kind of warped and wants to just not phase through things anymore. There's no, the biggest thing of this movie is they're just trying to get this lab. They want the lab, and and the mob guy's like, yo, I could sell this to the highest bidder, this quantum technology, and he's like, I'll sell it for $1 billion, even though I don't feel like that's worth it. But Hope's just like, fuck you, I just want to do the right thing. I just want my mom. So a lot of this movie is just a cat and mouse chase, and forgiveness in many ways. And there's a great scene when they go to where Ghost is located with the lab that she stole, and Hope talks to Scott, and she says, why didn't you ask me to go with you? And he's just like, would you? He goes, now we'll never know. And that's building their relationship, like, with each other, not as just people who love each other, but as partners. Ant-Man and the Wasp, like that was the building aspect of this movie with these two, was trying to bring them together. But also, I just love that scene. I just love when she goes, and if you did take me, you wouldn't have got caught. Throwing a little bit more shade in there. Him and Hank's relationship is really fun, where after that scene, she gets out of the van and he goes, hey, can you quit oogling all over my daughter and go get my fucking lab? And big fan, I don't know why, but I just love the small, shrinking everything, growing everything, there's really cool sequences and stuff like that. And the director, Peyton Reed, he's on for the long haul because he's directed Ant-Man Quantumania, so this is his trilogy full on, and that's cool to me, And looking at his background a little bit more, he's more of a comedy director. You could definitely tell that, especially with these first two movies. I heard that the third movie is not as funny as these two. And what's funny is, the first movie is a heist movie. Second movie is not really a heist movie, but it's like cat and mouse. We're trying to do this thing, trying to save Hank's wife and Hope's mom. So there's a lot of aspects going on. And with Ghost's character, she's just kind of just there. If that makes any sense. But then she gets cured in the end, because after they pull Janet out, she's like, hey, I developed these powers while I was down there in the quantum realm, so they kind of changed me. So that plays into the third movie, I'm guessing, because she's been down there. And she knows her way around, because she looks like a warrior when Hank finds her, because Hank's in there, and he's like, his mind's getting all crazy. She comes and she rescues him, and he's like, yo, you've changed. She's like, hey, this place changed me. This place is nothing like we thought it was. It's something far different, and now we're going to explore that in the third movie. And I think we're going to build upon more of Scott and Cassie, because she's going to become part of the story in helping, Scott. And there's like with Endgame, when he lost that moment in time and she grew up, and he's like, Peanut, there's going to be I think this movie's going to be a little bit more emotional with the third one, with Kang and everything like that. Something's going to happen with Scott. Either Scott's going to die, or Scott is going to be the one that releases Kang into our world and stuff like that. And then he's going to have a big redemption factor in Secret Wars or Kang of Dynasty, Kang's Dynasty or whatever. And I'm like, oh man, if they kill Scott, I'll be like, no, because I love Scott. Scott, in Endgame, he's that comfort, when he comes out of the quantum realm, when he goes in, and he comes out and he's just like, hey, I'm really hungry. I want a sandwich. Is he going to eat that? He adds those layers of like comfort to you as you're like, I understand Scott. And there's another great scene within this movie where he's sitting there after he has to get back there before the agents come and know that he's gone. And he gets there in time, and Cassie covers for him a little bit while he gets out and says he's sick, blah, blah, blah. But they're sitting there at the end of the bed, and he's just like, she's like, you're a superhero. And he's like, I'm not a superhero. She's just like, Daddy, you are. You got to do the right thing. That's what you always taught me. You taught me to always do the right thing. And she looks up to him, and he's, there's this trophy that they go after in the starting of the movie, and it's his world's greatest grandma. And this line pays off in this scene with him and Cassie. They're sitting there at the end of the bed, and she's like, Daddy, I believe you. You can do it. You want to know why? You're the world's greatest grandma. And I kind of got choked up a little bit. I was like, and there's a lot of great action in this movie. And is the story great? Is the story perfect? It's just a fun movie, and that's why I'm laughing at the fact, like, with these last few Marvel movies, everyone's been so like split, and that's why I'm watching all this Ant-Man Quantumania reviews. I'm reading subtle reviews more or less than full-blown in-depth like spoilers. Like I don't look for that, and I'm just reading like, oh, you're gonna love it, oh, you're gonna hate it, it's the lowest score on Rotten Tomatoes. Fuck Rotten Tomatoes, man. Go make your own opinion about a movie, and it was funny, is like I was talking to Doug, and y'all know Doug. Y'all know him with all our reviews and stuff like that. He goes a little bit more on the negative side sometimes of these movies because he holds them to a certain expectation. Rightfully so, because that's his choice. And like we were talking about this movie, and he's just like, he goes, it's just weird placement. Like, it's kind of happening before Infinity War happens. Then the mid-credit scene is when Scott goes into the machine, so they can extract the quantum power, and everyone disappears after the Thanos snap. So this is where we're going to catch up with Scott in Endgame when the Rat, the Savior, accidentally stands on a button and lets Scott out. So, and I was like, we were talking about that because he goes, you saw this in theaters. I was like, no, I honestly, if I remember right, if I can dig deep down in my brain, I was like, I remember seeing Infinity War and being like, quiet, and like we knew Ant-Man and the Wasp was around the corner, and I remember like he was like, yeah, you want to go? I'm like, I don't know, man, like I'm good. Like Infinity War just plugged my butthole, and I was just like, I'm good, man, I'm good. And I saw it when it came out, and I can't remember my initial reaction to this movie, but going back now, I really did enjoy this movie. It's really fun, it's fucking funny. All the characters blend really well together. Of course, my boy Luis and the crew. And the truth serum. It's not true serum. That's true serum. Oh, shit, it's true serum. Then that joke pays off in the end when they got the guy that made the concoction, and they have him, the mob guy and all them confessing to the cops. And then the guy's like, oh, it is true serum, you know. True serum doesn't exist, it's in the movies. But that was great. Seeing more giant man aspects of Scott growing bigger in the faulty suit. You know, nothing wrong with the faulty suit to really push a narrative with what he can do. And there's a great scene too where they go to Cassie's school because he kept the original Ant-Man suit and this trophy, and she took the trophy and they went to go get it, but then he's at a point where he shrinks a little lower, then he gets in the van and Hank's all, hey sport, did you have fun in school? You know, just fun stuff like that. And this movie ain't rocket science. Like, they're just after this lab in this case and everybody wants it. Hank and Hope are on the run just because of what happened with the Superhero Registration Act in Civil War. So if I really have to give this, and that's why I'm really sad that Luis and the crew, I looked on their IMDb, they're not listed for the third movie. Kind of made me sad because I like those characters, so I want those characters, T.I.'s character and everything like that. I want those characters back, but from what I'm reading is this movie, Peyton Reed's going in a different direction. They said this is more full Marvel than these movies are, and I think that's why I like Ant-Man and the Wasp, because they're very different from the other Marvel movies. You know, they're more, they're not light, they're lighthearted, but there's also like good comedy when good comedy is used right, especially in this sort of aspect of storytelling in this type of movie. And I just had a blast, man. I give this movie about a 4 out of 5. And with the combination of watching the first one and watching this one, I would say I still like the first one more, because that's a redemption story for Scott, and this one is a story of forgiveness of, you know, with him and Hope reconnecting with Hope, and you know, getting forgiveness from Hank, and him taking on the role of being a superhero, which is Ant-Man. And sacrifices will be made in the next movie with Kang, you know, because there's that one part in the trailer where he says, I don't need to win, I need us to lose, you know, me and you. That's what has to happen. He's going to make a sacrifice. Either he dies, either he lets Kang out, either something happens to Cassie or something happens to Hank. We shall see. So I know a death is upon us in a third movie, and I don't know if I'm ready, especially if I watch these movies back to back. And that's another aspect of these movies too, because it's weird watching a trilogy of movies when honestly it's not a trilogy upon itself, because these movies are placed in certain areas in this Marvel timeline that we're going. You know, like the Marvels, the Captain Marvel movie, you know, you got her origin, but it's really, then you got the second movie that really connects to the Ms. Marvel show. And, you know, with Rambo and everything like that, you know, that's what's so crazy, is like, these movies are sequels in itself, and yes, this will be the Ant-Man trilogy, but it's not that format of the traditional trilogy. Like, Ant-Man was placed at the end of the second phase, and this one was placed here right at the Infinity War, but it's telling a complete narrative story. And when you go back and watch these movies, you know, you're like, oh yeah, I'm in phase this, I'm in phase that, oh shit, I'm in phase 4, okay, cool. You know, there's so much time in between each movie, and they tell you how much time has been in between each movie. So it's just like Black Panther, you know, the first Black Panther movie, then you go see Wakanda Forever, the King's dead, but you also have to go watch the other journey you have with them in the Avengers movies. You know, you get to see his origin start in Civil War. That's what's so crazy about this Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I'm always digging it. You know, my wife says, when I told her about the mixed reviews with the third movie, she was just like, yeah, you know, I think people are getting burnt out on superhero movies. I was like, yeah, but I'm not. You know, fuck everybody if they're not going to go to the theater and just enjoy themselves. Like, when I broke down the Fast X trailer, man, I was like, fuck yeah, sign me up, take my fucking money. And am I the problem? I will be the problem. I don't give a fuck, man. I'm going to these movies to escape, just like how I buy a comic book, just like how I do this. This is how I listen to music. These movies are an escape, and if I'm gonna have a good time, I'll have a good time. Do I love every movie? Not really. But if I'm enjoyed and I'm entertained, yeah, and I can get critical, but this movie here was fun. And I was talking to somebody, I was like, why don't you like this movie? I was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, but wasn't this fun? Wasn't this cool? Like, I really loved them building more of the relationship with Cassie and Scott. Scott really taking the aspect of being the hero and the Wasp. And, you know, sitting here today looking at these movies, I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember, like, back in the day, man, you got a Batman movie every like 2 to 3 years, and then we got the Spider-Man movie, and that was really exciting, and the X-Men movie. In my mind, I was like, we peaked. We finally made it, boys. We finally made it, and now there's like 5 superhero movies a year. I'm living in my golden age, and I'm going to embrace it, embrace the nerd. Ant-Man and the Wasp, 4 out of 5. I still like the first one more. Tell me what you thought of the movie. Are you excited for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania? Are you worried? Because it's going to be a different pace, and I heard it's very psychedelic in a lot of ways. Bill Murray's in this movie, and I can't wait for Kang, though. I can't wait for Kang. The Jonathan dude, he's a great actor, and he's got Creed 3 on the way too, boy. So our review will come for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania with me and Doug when we go see the film. We're going to see it on a Monday, so we'll drop the review after the weekend, just so if you have a chance to go watch it, we can talk spoilers and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast about Ant-Man and the Wasp. I had fun. I had a good time. I love these characters, and that's it. That's all. Tell me what you think. Drop those comments, and after that, like and subscribe. Share with your grandma. Share with your grandpa. Share with the bum down at Walmart. I am KMB, the Sexy Ninja, and remember, stay sexy, ninjas. Woo woo! Welcome to the Wicked Show.